Okay, so for the second company, I would like to call their mentor, Mr. Ariel Zeitlin, partner at Scale Venture Partners, and the company itself, RegulusX, Jonathan and Yoav.
Okay, so now to something completely different. So I'm Jonathan, co-founder of RegulusX. Imagine a future not far away where drones and robots are a fundamental part of our everyday life. Even today, commercial drones are taking part in diverse missions, helping construction, security, oil and gas, foresting, police work, homeland security, search and rescue, military forces, cinematography, sports, agriculture, and many other applications. But within this amazing boom of drones, there is a problem just starting to surface. Today's drones are very vulnerable and can be easily intercepted, hijacked, or crushed by any amateur hacker with very basic equipment. GPS spoofing, for example, took the US Customs and Border Protection Agency's drones out of the sky along the Mexican border. And this guy used a $40 device to hack the San Francisco police drones, which cost way over $30,000 each. Imagine a terrorist being able to watch a military video from a drone, upload a new flight plan, or crash it in order to escape the crime scene. Well, it just happened here in Israel, land of cybersecurity and drones. An amateur hacker from Gaza managed to easily intercept live video from IDF drones. These weaknesses are not caused by lazy engineers. It's because fully protecting a drone is not a simple task. Ask DARPA or any other military drone company which is relying on third parties to secure their drones. And it's much harder to do on commercial drones. These small drones have very limited battery power and limited computer power, mostly used to keep the drone in the air. Yet they're almost as complex as their bigger brothers, with zero latency, two-way communications, real-time embedded software, analog and digital video links, navigation systems, and autonomous mission capabilities. All these systems are targeted by hackers. This is where we come in. With over 35 years of combined experience in the IDF and Israel's leading companies, doing encryption, robotics, UAVs, real-time systems, microcontrollers, building, hacking, and flying drones. Our solution monitors abnormal system behaviors and allows to rapidly detect, inform, and correct system performance in response to cyber attacks. Then to initiate automated recovery actions and alert operators of an ongoing attack. It is an external, lightweight, secure system that provides protection against all 7 possible attack vectors with a specific solution for each vector. For example, encryption. We don't use computational heavy AES libraries. Instead, we developed the one-time pad stream cipher, unique for drones, and we use true hardware random keys generated by the drone's sensors. To identify GPS spoofing in a cost-effective manner, our statistical algorithm gathers data from mainstream GPS receivers and antennas. Each antenna is masked and positioned an opposite to another antenna, giving the algorithm enough data to detect a spoofed signal. User-friendly interfaces, and it's all done in a fraction of the price, size, weight, and complexity. This is a short clip of our first GPS test with TerraScan, our first client and a company providing drone services to governmental agencies and the companies in need for aerial surveys. When we approached them, we found out that their drones are completely exposed and that in their business plan, they're losing 2 drones a year due to communication and GPS problems. We're going to change that for them. We have a simple business model. Working as an OEM for drone companies, most are incapable of designing their own security and selling an aftermarket solution for drone fleets who are not protected. If you remember the San Francisco drones, this is a good example. We have a huge market, one of the fastest growing in the world today, and an imminent problem. Just imagine, a flying computer weighing 50 pounds, flying at 60 miles per hour over your head, and anything can crash it. An amateur hacker, communication interference, anything. So protecting drones is nice, they are expensive, but protecting data is great. Commercial drones don't fly for fun, they fly to gather data. This data can be land surveys, mapping, cinematography, police intelligence, and much more. Stealing your drone is painful, but stealing your data, operational or business, is a catastrophe. And this is our real offering. To conclude, in the future, our technology will not be used for drones only, but for robots in general. Drones are just a small part of the robot family, and this is where we aim. We see two challenges ahead. First, a complex technical challenge, but a great team and the right funding will solve that. The second is the market, which is just starting to understand there's a problem. Three things support us there. FAA regulation, which is already on the go. Insurance companies demanding more secure systems, which is also growing. And of course, the normal evolution of a field into a mature, standardized field, just like computers and mobile phones did before this field. About us, we're very early, just started about 4 months ago. We haven't raised any money yet. Should be raising our seed fund pretty soon. You're welcome to come talk to us later. Thanks.
Okay, that was RegulusX, Jonathan Tzur, and now we'll start the discussion with the panel, starting with Ariel from Scale Venture Partners, their mentor.
Thank you. So, I mean, I think, great presentation. I mean, I think the ubiquity of drones and the fact that the drones are going to be more and more part of our regular everyday life is, I think that's something that's easy to buy into, especially with, Amazon and Google, all talking about doing drone delivery and commercial drone companies starting to form for doing oil and gas, exploration or repair and so on. And the fact that there's going to be a need to secure them is also, I think pretty obvious. I think the real question is going to be how that market develops. I mean, if you think about drones and compare them to kind of other products that have developed, you could see one world where they're going to develop more like, televisions or cars, right, which we purchase and use, and we don't really, put anything on top of them. Or you can see them developing, more like mobile devices or computers, which are essentially platforms that, run a whole bunch of other things on them. So I guess my question for you is, how do you think about those two different views of the future, and how do you think about go-to-market in each one of those?
Okay, so first of all, today, the market is at a very early stage. It's kind of the Wild West, and I think if you know the drone market a little bit, you know it. The FAA is just starting to understand that they should do something about it. Not only security, registration, and so on. And also the way the market is kind of accumulating is also, we're starting to see two big things. One is drone companies, manufacturers of drones, and only in the US I found more than 400 that actually sell commercial drones that cost somewhere between $5,000 to $60,000, and they're all making good money. But you have to understand that these companies are true hardware companies. They buy engine from here and propellers from there, and eventually they just put some kind of a kit that is their drone. They have no ability to do security, nothing. They know nothing about it. Before we even started, we did a research. We called, we tried to call 100 companies. Eventually we spoke to about 20 that were willing to talk. And we told them a story. We want to buy a drone. We need to be secure and so on. And we learned, and this is good and bad, we learned that nobody is securing their drones currently. Some of them have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not a solution for drones. It's usually something they took, an AES library. It's very heavy. It's not working, and so on. And what we're saying is, pretty soon, we imagine in the next year or two, someone will tell them, listen, guys, if you're planning to do this delivery thing above our head, you need to check that this drone can't just be intercepted. Or even, we're not just talking, by the way, about hackers. today it's a way, in a way, any GPS interference, just because there is an interference, can crash a drone. That's how variable it is. So one is those companies. And the second, of course, is the example of the San Francisco police drones. They invested millions of dollars in drones. And now they have drones that someone showed them that from 2 miles with $40 devices, you can just intercept them. So we're also saying there will be a lot of drones that are not protected even in the next 5-6 years, because not everybody will be able to, it's hard. And we're also looking at that field.
Mark, would you like to take the next question?
I was, in reading in preparation for this, intrigued by how elegant you're approaching this solution. One question I have is, consumer drones and military, first responders, two different markets, right? It's like security for consumers and security for enterprises. So I'm curious in terms of how you are going to attack both of those two markets. Those are totally different animals, right? In the sense of $3,000 drone versus a $60,000 drone, the likelihood of someone going to pay for security on a consumer drone versus oil and gas pipeline drones can be completely different. So I'd be interested in terms of how you're thinking of that. And I really like how you position in terms of it's not just drones, it's robots, right? So there's going to be more. You are early, right? So it's a question of when does this hit? So that's, from an investor's perspective, that's one big element that we have to weigh in on this, right? So I liked your approach, and that was elegant in terms of how you were thinking through it, but I'm very curious in terms of how you're thinking about go-to-market, because that's going to be
So we're currently looking basically just at what we call the professional market, which you're right, they have drones that cost $3,000 and $60,000, but eventually, from what we plan, our solution will cost, it's not going to be an expensive solution. Already today, by the way, you can buy add-ons for drones, like add connectivity to the internet or add some GPS, and this is just small boxes you add. Generally speaking, also in drones, it's kind of like Android and Apple in a way. There are other companies that are closed, like DJI, that do their own thing inside. But many of the companies, including, by the way, 3DR, which is the largest one in the US, huge company, they're based on Arduino, eventually, which is an open source. And there's hundreds of companies using this Arduino open source, and it's very easy for us it's 2 wires to connect. Yoav can explain a little bit more deeper if you want the technical side, but it's easy to provide both an OEM solution or an aftermarket solution, which just means that the technical guy of the drone fleet will have to connect 2 wires and get a box that is basically sitting outside and monitors everything that goes through it. But again, we're not looking at toys. Nobody cares about his $100 drone that he flies on his grass. And the military market, again, we might be there later on, but it's a hard market, and the big ones are protected. The problem is the small ones, the commercial ones, which, by the way, from what we see, is supposed also to be the biggest market in volume. It's going to even pass the military market, and of course the small drones market, just because they're so expensive.
Is there a big payload hit for what you're thinking?
Sorry?
Payload in terms of weight to the device?
No, it should be smaller than a pack of cigarettes, something like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, RegulusX, Jonathan and Yoav. Thank you for the mentor, Ariel Zeitlin, from Scale Venture Partner.